Welcome to the Fraser Forster Appreciation Society. We are here at Launchport Studios. I'm Johnny Blaine. Joining me, we've gone 4-ball again, is Gary Diamond. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Jake Sanders. Hello.
Hello.
Nearly called you James Sanders. Jake Sanders. And welcome back. Haven't seen you for a long time. It's James Robbins.
Been a while, yeah. How's it going?
Good, thank you. When were you on?
Around the North London derby last season. So a while ago.
The home one.
Yes. I'd have
April.
to go back and look in my notes, which I still have. But yeah, a while ago. Yeah, it's been too long.
It's been too long. But thank you for joining us. Gary Diamond is hot-footed it from Ibrox.
Yeah. Good night. Great day.
Your eyes don't look as red as I thought they would.
I don't know what to say to you. I mean, I had a flight back at 7 o'clock this morning, so I've been up since about quarter to 5. But yeah, got back. Had a really, really nice time. The football was dreadful.
Yeah, as always, Tottenham ruining a
Great day, just ruined by the football.
Yeah,
But
yeah. All right, we'll come to all of that. Just a little bit of club news before I want to ask you a question. James Robbins, as you haven't been on for a while. The women beat Crystal Palace 2-0 away in the League Cup on Wednesday night, I want to say. They progressed to the quarterfinals, which is great, but this is when the quarterfinal is when the European teams come in. So Chelsea and Arsenal will come in. So who knows? They got to the FA Cup final last year. Let's hope they repeat that. No midweek games for the 18s to 21s. Obviously, the seniors had yet another midweek game. But before we get into that, James, I want to ask you, it's been, like you said, 6-7 months before we've seen you on here. Yeah. A lot has happened in that time with Ange. It's been a total roller coaster. Where are you on it? Where's your journey been on Ange?
One word I've said to some friends, fellow Spurs fans, and just fans of other clubs is that I've been weirdly zen this season. Don't really understand why, but I think it's because I'm just here for the journey of Ange. I am Angeing, but there are issues.
Yeah,
can't not see the issues. I think it's broader than Ange. For me, there's some recruitment issues. I think our summer, you could say, some of it was good in one respect. With Archie, Bergvall, Odebear, who's not really played. Young talent for the future. I think Archie's the future. I think he's just got mentality and great player. But then you also we didn't really bring in, other than Solanke,
first team players.
Any first team players. I think Odebear would have been. He started the first game of the season that he was available, the Everton game. But then, unfortunately, he's been injured. But then with Ange, my frustrations have been doesn't rotate nearly enough. I think, recruitment, bringing Verner back in was silly because we needed homegrown players for squad spots. And also it was, Mikey has played this season, but it blocks Mikey more on the left, which is his preferred position. That's crazy. And again, that is, it might be a recruitment issue, but Ange gets the final word. And then Spence. You gave him a new contract. Porro is probably one of our best players, but they all look knackered. And that is because there's lack of rotation, there's no one available. And then the guys that come in aren't ready because they've not played in months. And to be honest, that's not just a story of Ange. I can go back managers on managers and managers at Spurs, and no one rotates. Never rotates. Conte didn't really do it. Mourinho didn't do it. Poch certainly didn't do it.
We've talked about Poch not doing it, but we felt that at that time he didn't really have much. He rotated the fullbacks a lot, which is actually what we're asking Ange to do.
Yes.
So you're Ange, sort it out.
I'm Ange.
Are you more Ange? If the scale was Ange in, Ange sort
Yeah.
it out, Ange out.
I'm Ange
Ange in.
I think partly because
Why does there always need to be an in or out?
Well, I'm not. I'm Ange, sort it out.
I know, but I hate it. I don't like it. I got asked it in the office the other day. You Ange or Ange? I said,
yeah, I get
I just
asked
want to
it
win games
all the time. I get people.
Why are people so desperate?
Yeah, so you're Ange, sort it out.
Just want to win games.
But if we keep losing games, it's gonna have to go, right?
I back him. I back him to do it. He's got, I think, one of the best mentalities of a coach.
Do you?
He's
got the Australian mentality, which is a great winner's mentality.
Yeah.
But you need more than that. You have to have structure, and we've talked about. Is it mentality?
But he's got great chat as well.
No, I don't think he does.
I think
James.
it's waning a little bit.
It's definitely waning. Well, he's definitely said something last night, which is divided opinion, which we're definitely going to come to. Yeah. Okay, so you're more Ange in on the slide. Let me have my sliding scale, Jake. I need it.
But I'd ask, who would you get in?
I don't know.
And if I hear someone say Iraola again,
Iraola?
I'd be like, it's the same coach with less possession. Spurs fans would not be for it. I don't think.
I disagree with you there. George Pena on our comments. Get involved in our YouTube comments. And in all the way. Don't know. Listen, it's dividing opinion. One thing it's doing is making people like really angry. If you're Ange out, then you can't see the project and all this stuff. And if you're Ange, I don't know, there's whole Levy stuff, and I get abuse. I've seen it on forums I'm not even on anymore. Full of the worst people you've ever met in your life, or seen in your life, telling you that because you're a Levy stooge, you can't see the wood for the trees. I want Levy gone, but that's very much out of our hands. Levy's not going to go I don't think, for a very long time. It's not that quick. You can sack a manager tomorrow. Daniel Levy ain't leaving tomorrow. You can do all your protests. Fine. If that's what you want to do it. At the moment, we can't control Daniel Levy going. Would I like Daniel Levy to change? Yes. Do I think he's going to change? No. I would like Ange Postecoglou to change. Do I think he's going to change? No. So right now, the only thing I can really focus on is the manager and what's happening on the pitch. For the record, I'd love the owner to change. There you go. I've said it.
Levy out.
Fine. But as you said, Gaz, on the last pod, it's all well and good saying Levy out, but for who?
No, I didn't say that on the last pod. I've said that subsequently because we've had a number of comments about, it's Levy's fault and this, that, and the other. And I did say on the last pod that for the first time in Levy's tenure, I feel genuinely let down by what's happening, because the promise of the stadium was that we would be competing at the very top end. And the stadium would be the thing that brings us the trophies and the glory and all of that. I think what Levy has built structurally around the club is fantastic. We are a completely different club to the one that he bought way back then. We have competed in as many semi-finals and finals as we ever did in the past. So, I don't think it's his fault that necessarily we haven't won trophies. We just haven't got over the line. And lesser teams do win trophies. That's the point of semi-finals and finals. I think we've been in about 14, 15 semi-finals and finals. Outside of the top five.
You got Jake Sanders to do the dirty work.
Outside of the top five, I think the next highest is 4. Right?
These were your stats the other night. What was it? Was it 4?
I think it was 5. Was it 5?
4 or 5, right? So we've, in Levy's tenure, we've competed 14 to 15, semi-finals and finals. Outside of the top 5, the next club to have the most is 5. So, it's a very nuanced debate. But here's where I do stand on it right now. Not enough is being done to achieve the success that we want, and ultimately, I don't really see that it can be as binary as Levy in or Levy out. I want whoever is there to have the bloody mindedness to make Tottenham a highly successful football team. Now, if you turned around to me and said, a guy's going to come in who's going to pump in a load of money and just wants to make Tottenham successful, then I'm Levy out, get that guy in. But if you turn around to me and say, Mike Ashley's buying us, I'm Levy in. Right? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you can't make the judgment until you know who's buying us and what their intentions are, unfortunately. And as I say, Levy's tenure as a whole, there's plenty of good things. There's also a lot of negatives. I don't see how anybody can say anything different.
Do you not think that with Levy, I think Spurs generally do things the right way?
Yeah.
If we won a league doing it the right way, instead of an owner coming in and just splashing the cash and buying every best player, it doesn't feel as good.
To be honest, I've never won a league, so I can't tell you how it feels.
True.
But
True.
You are so City fans, whether it feels good or not.
Yeah, but there's two sides to that. Okay,
taken away.
One of the other aspects of Levy's tenure is that football has been corrupted by the likes of Manchester City and Chelsea. Okay, he's competing in an era that we haven't seen that kind of financial influence over the game at any other time, and I think it's been a more uneven playing pitch than you've ever seen before, as evidenced by the fact that 87% of the domestic trophies in Levy's tenure at Tottenham have been dominated by 5 clubs. Previous 22 years to that, it was 55%. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So trophies were much more available in the past, and that is the influence of financial corruption of, somebody's probably going to sue me here, but the financial corruption of Chelsea and City. So in answer to your question, alleged.
Say that and you can say what you want.
The alleged financial corruption. Well, it is, they've gone and blown every club out the water. They've completely, corrupted their youth academies, signing all the youth players and all of this sort of stuff, right? So that is the playing field that he has had to compete with at the same time as building the club. And people go, you're making excuses for Levy here, this, that, the other. I'm just setting the landscape and being realistic. This is what's been going on in the background, okay? in answer to your question, I would love us to win the league or the Champions League when we had that opportunity, because I think everybody would have hung their hat on Tottenham and said, that's the model, that's the way to do it. At the same time, if somebody wanted to come in and be bigger and dirtier and filthier and win us everything, I ain't going to say no.
No.
Yeah.
No,
So
no.
you're not going to throw away your fan.
No, exactly.
Let's get to the game. I've had a few comments which we'll come to. I'll read the lineup. The GOAT in goal, Fraser Forster. You said it. Go on.
I said it at the time. I said everyone was melting down. Ironically, we've not won a game yet, but by no fault of his own.
Been brilliant.
He's been perfect.
Yeah.
We picked up a point because of him last night.
Yeah.
Porro, Gray, Dragusin and Udogie couldn't really do anything else because we don't have Spence, we don't have Reguilon in the squad. So the fullbacks had to play again. No other centre halves, possibly Dorrington.
He had a big hamstring injury
At the end of last season.
And he's not quite hit his heights again yet. And I think it was Malachi Hardy was on the bench instead last match day instead of Dorrington. So there's what kind of wonder where Dorrington's at.
Okay.
It's a shame. He's very comfortable on the ball, probably more so than Radu on the ball. Box defending against Rangers as a kid, first game maybe
you're
not,
right.
but
Yeah,
it's
and
a
that
shame
atmosphere.
It's a shame he's not really available.
Okay.
'Cause I think he'd have
That
got
debut
opportunities.
probably comes at Tamworth, don't it? For Dorrington, you'd probably say decent chance.
Well, there's talk of getting Ash Phillips back on loan. Might have to. Bentancur and Basuma in front, two players who cannot play on Sunday, both suspended for different reasons. Johnson on the right, Maddison on the left, Maddison in the middle, Verner on the left, and Son up front. Gary, I'll start with you. You were there. You've just come back. How was your day? How was the atmosphere? How was the stadium?
I wanted to go because Ibrox is an iconic stadium, Rangers are an iconic football club, and you don't have so many opportunities to go up there and see Spurs play them. And they didn't disappoint. Ibrox is a wonderful football stadium. Rangers are great fans. They produced a great atmosphere. Spurs were a bit flat in terms of atmosphere. There wasn't much to get behind, to be honest, at any point. Like I say, the day was nice. Got the train up, all of that. That's all lovely. But I went for the football, and the football was disappointing, massively disappointing.
Yeah, what I don't want to do, I don't want to go through every single moment of the game.
There wasn't many though, was there? Really?
There weren't many. I do want to pick up on a couple of things. I can't actually remember their goal. Certainly last night. I was working on it.
Ball
Really
over the
good
top, and
pass.
Porro got.
It wasn't
Caught up.
intended for the guy that scored. That
So
ball.
I've got some notes on the goal where Brennan he's just switched to the left, does not press Tavernier, just lets him run on.
Yeah.
And again, I always moan that Brennan doesn't sprint when he's rapid, and he could have got to Tavernier.
and I mean that his work rate tracking back isn't good enough.
Not good enough at all. And the ball sent in, you had Gray and Dragusin marking the same guy, and left the striker free to Porro's trying to get back. I literally thought Porro lost his man, then realised it was a striker, and it's like, why aren't one of the centre backs on him? Free header or free volley.
Well, I think that's probably a tactic, that disallowed goal they had at the end, and they did it a couple of times. It's not just Rangers. We've seen teams score goals at the back post against us all season, mainly on Porro's side. He's going to go forward, centre forward, drift out or drift away. And someone like Gray, who you've said it, he's a future, he's a wonderful player, wonderful talent, not a centre half. No. And as a centre half, I've never played there, but I can imagine you need 360, and he's not doesn't play there that often. He's not aware, and it's very easy just to drift off the centre half and find yourself in space against this Tottenham team. So we find ourselves 1-0 down. But before that, he drags off Timo Werner at half time. Verner was terrible, don't get me wrong. At one point, Fraser Forster hit one of the best passes I think I've ever seen. They had Glenn Hoddle on comms, or certainly it's one of the guests. A pass he would have been proud of. He's done it a couple of times, Forster, which I didn't think he had it in him. On the floor, he's not so great, but from hands, he hit this ball 60 yards to Verner. All four of us would have controlled that ball. I genuinely believe if you'd put me there in my jeans and jumper and my trainers, I'd have controlled that ball.
School loafers on.
Yeah, like it wasn't that hard. There were a million things a professional footballer can do that I can't do. That bounced 3 times before him. It just went out of play. Verner gets dragged, quite rightly. But then Ange, 2 days or a day after saying we're going through this problem at the moment, one thing I'm not going to do is throw players under the bus. He throws Timo Werner under the bus. Now, we know Timo Werner, I say divides opinion. I think we're all of the opinion he's really, really not doing it right now. Why? First of all, why is he picked on him? Yes, he was poor, but there are others you could be picking on. And why? What is that? Is that Ange feeling under pressure now, turning it on the players?
It's a very end of your tenure sort of thing to do, isn't it? And as much as I'm sure every single manager that's ever managed Timo Werner and every single fan that he's played for their club has wanted or has said the same things about him, and managers have wanted to publicly slate him. He wouldn't have said that. He wouldn't have said that about probably anyone else in the squad. He's an easy target, and I actually thought when that happened, I thought, wait a minute, 3 weeks from January, does Verner play another minute for Tottenham now? That's the first thing.
Well, we can't afford to tuck another.
But we've got no more Europa League games. I don't know. Maybe it will end up starting on Sunday. But that made me think. So close to January, was that a message to the ball? We need someone in January. I can't do it.
I've seen rumours that we can't send him back.
Really?
Supposedly, that it would cost
There's
us
no break
money,
clause,
and that we can't send him back. Yeah, apparently, that was for a while ago. And the drop off from him's been crazy, in my opinion. Last season, for the back end of the season, he was our only attacker doing anything.
Yeah.
His creative stats were off the charts. They were. You look on the bars; they were green, 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 green. Goal scoring, obviously red, because we expect his finishing to be terrible. But yeah, the drop off. The drop off is crazy.
Come back to that comment in a second.
Just on Werner, the one thing I would say is, as much as the quality has dropped off and he isn't as good, what I do like about him is he keeps showing for the ball and he keeps trying and he keeps going. From what I see, he hasn't got it. We know that.
Yeah, but Gary, that's not enough.
No, I know that.
That's nowhere near enough. I get what you mean. However many things go against him.
Right. But I do see him trying to take responsibility. I do see him trying to, receive the ball and want the ball and trying to do something, which is more than I could say for certain other players in our team.
So he didn't win a duel at all in
yesterday.
the match.
Did any of them?
I've only checked Verner. But yeah, didn't win a duel. 0 out of 5. Pass completion was under 70%.
That's really poor.
He didn't complete a dribble.
Yeah, no, he was
It was
terrible.
borderline under.
I think
terrible.
it was such.
It was
probably
horrific.
one of the poorest individual performances from any of our players this season. So
I reckon
Ange was going to pick on anyone.
There's a lot in that bin.
Yeah.
But listen, he's come out and criticised him, and one thing that got me from the interview was Ange says that, and then the reporter asked a secondary question, which was, how did Timo take that when you took him off? And Ange's response was, don't care, not interested.
Is it?
Yeah, and for me, actually, I am interested, and you
But
should
he
be
doesn't
interested.
seem the kind of guy that would be furious because he's had so many things go against him
Who, Verner?
over such a long period of time. He almost feels a bit like a robot. He'll just take it and go again. He'll be in he'll be in the training ground today, and he'll just brush it off.
Well, I hope so.
He must have been taken off early at half time so many times. Whereas you saw what happened against West Ham, and I saw it firsthand. Madison was fuming because they're not used to things like that going against them. But Verner has had so much go against him that I don't even think it would have fazed him.
You're probably right, Jake.
I honestly don't.
I don't like that response from Ange. The response should be, even if it's a lie, we'll talk about it tomorrow. He wasn't happy. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
He didn't need to.
So I find it interesting that journalists are so keen to challenge Ange on the reactions of players and so on. Did any of them challenge him on how he managed to bring on Kulusevski and play 3 players out of position when he could have played each 3 of them in their actual position?
Yeah, there was a point where we had everyone.
We had Son on the right, Johnson on Son up front, Johnson Kulu on the left, and Johnson.
No, Johnson on the left and Kulusevski on the right.
Yeah. So 3 players out of position. Why has nobody said to Ange, hang about?
Well, Kulu's got really out of position.
You've got Kulusevski on the pitch, who's played through the middle quite a lot for us. You could have had Son on the left and Johnson on the right. Why did he do that? Why is nobody challenging him on that? Because that, to me, I stood there in the stands looking at it like, I can see no reason for this at all.
Kulusevski did play up front for a bit back in the last season as well, and in pre-season.
He's better centrally, probably.
Probably. I mean, the lineup for this game, I kind of felt I knew how it was going to go to an extent with that front 3. Verner, Son, and Johnson are all very similar profile players. None of them can make the ball stick.
No.
None of them take on their man. They're all like, get the ball in the final third, make the assist or goal. That's their job. They're not creators. But Son actually has got a lot of assists this season, but he's not taking on a fullback generally and dribbling and then playing a final ball. He's like in a link-up play. That's where he's getting his assists. The ball was never going to stick. So then you've got Maddison, Benz, and Corbasuma, 3 players who generally do make it stick, but they're not up front. And sometimes you need to, that's why Solanke might not be getting a lot of goals, but he's so imperative because everyone we've got up front, unless Kulusevski against City, played on the right, guess what? He makes it stick.
Let me ask you, he played Lancashire up front against Galatasaray, one of the hottest atmospheres you could wish to see. Why didn't you play Lancashire last night?
I'm surprised.
The Sun thing is just beyond the joke. No.
I don't think that changes much, though.
I think it does. Because
Sun up front is
you're playing Son on the left, which changes a lot.
Sun up front is playing with 10 men.
Son is still not making it stick on the left. And
I know.
All right, hold up, but he's 19 years old.
No, I get he's a kid. I understand. But what is the thinking from Ange behind, we're away to Galatasaray? It can't be atmosphere. It can't be big game thing. Because he's played him, in my opinion, in an even bigger atmosphere and an even bigger game. So you've got a striker on the bench.
Against the worst team.
Against the worst team, right. They are not as good as Galatasaray. So what was the thinking?
There's rumours he's going to go on loan in January, Lancashire.
But that doesn't make a difference.
But he was on the bench last night. Was he on the bench?
He was on the bench.
He did get a bit naivety against Galatasaray with the red card. But maybe that's in the thinking.
Okay, but if he does 45 to 60 minutes and then you bring Solanke on, it's all game experience.
But if anything, Gary, it's round pegs, round holes. With him not on the pitch, if Solanke needs a rest, get it. Play a centre forward.
Yeah,
play a centre forward.
I can't ever get on board with. I know there was a stage last season he scored the hat-trick against Burnley and against. Son is not a striker. He will never ever ever be a striker. And recently he can't even finish. He's not. He's costing us in every game at the moment. So I don't see.
Do you want to address this? Because Will has messaged in saying, we all know about Verner being bad, but what do you guys think of Son? He's looked terrible for ages, so go on.
I have been on Son for ages, and I said it last week, the week before, and in the summer. We should be, our number one priority in January, as well as a centre-back, we should be signing a left winger, ready-made for Son. We should be chucking 50, 60 million at Matoma or someone else.
We're not getting Matoma out of Brighton.
Or someone.
And also,
it's unlikely to get
our recruitment. He's 27.
We don't have to sign a youngster every time. We did it with Solanke. Solanke's
did it with Solanke, yeah.
We need
Semenyo out of Bournemouth.
We have to be signing a left winger because Son is going to get worse and worse and worse, and we're going to keep relying on him.
I'm not ready to bin him, by the way.
No, I'm not saying bin him, but. I said it in the summer. It should have happened a year ago, and I don't see Odobert being that man. We should have Son's replacement playing alongside Son as an understudy.
Ryan has just said that if we were a component side,
exactly,
we'd have. Competent is what he meant. Yeah. We would have a Son replacement in the club. Well, I don't know what this guy.
And it's not
this guy was signing from Korea.
No, it's not him, and it's not Odobert. Proper.
I think it's bold of you to say it's not Odobert or Yang when we just don't know.
Or Mikey Moore coming.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is Son's legs are going now, and we need this replacement now. That's my point.
I watched, funnily enough, when I was prepping for this, I watched a compilation of Odobert from the Everton game, all moments. And it was like, oh God, this is what we needed.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say he's going to be the world beater straight
But
away.
goals as well, more of a goal. We need someone to come in.
You're talking about the ball sticking. You're talking about the ball sticking up front.
Because I am not worried about goals. Weirdly, we're in a place where we're one of the highest scoring teams, but we also look like we can't create.
Yeah, but that's a little bit skewed because a lot of the goals are coming in a lot of games. Yeah. And when we need them, they don't come.
But your point about Odobert is correct.
Will take on a fullback and then I think improve Solanke's goal tally. Again, it doesn't have to be Odobert, just someone that can. What did City do when they were struggling against deep blocks? They bought Doku, who I think's a bit.
Yeah, he'd drive me mad. He would drive me mad.
Grealish, no matter what Pep's turning into, those guys.
But that's actually not what they did. What they did, the great City sides were Silva, the wonderfully technical footballer on one wing, and I think they had like a Grealish or something like that, Foden on the other wing. So not
Mahrez as well.
Mahrez, so not Mahrez was a speedster, but also a technical. You put it into him, he's going to retain it, he's going to deliver, he's going to do something with it, and that's the exact problem that we've got at the minute.
We have a real lack of technical quality up front, we do. And throughout the squad.
But this is something you picked up on right at the beginning of the season. I remember you saying you made this point at the beginning of the season that you had a concern about our front line being not technical enough. And that's coming to fruition at the moment.
And that was including Kulu, who's now I know he's occasionally playing there, but
I was watching Atalanta the other night against Real Madrid, and they are top of Serie A, and they won the Europa League, and they took Real Madrid all the way on Tuesday night. Could have got a draw. And the manager's great. I think his name always escapes me.
Gasperini.
Great. Old man, but he's not an old man, he's 66. But just notice he has the same birthday as Jose Mourinho and Brendan Rodgers. Good manager. A lot of managers are born on the 26th of January, by the way, as is my wife. She's a manager. Really good side, but not too many household names. They've won the Europa League with Lookman last year. Fabulous.
Yeah,
but I was looking, every time they
brilliant.
brought on a sub, they look like men. And one of the guys was 22, Samardzic, I think it is. But they're bringing on Retegui, 110 league appearances in Argentina. He's only 25, but they're bringing on experience. Like you said it at the top, our summer was a problem because we signed one player for the first team, and it ties in with a replacement for Son. Is Odobert really that replacement for Son? I just think there's too much in between the experience and the youth.
I think
and
Odobert's
not much in between.
Because wingers peak early, so you want them playing between the age of 19 and 25, really, because they don't tend to progress post there. Their body starts to fall apart.
Son,
but it's Gray and Bergvall, who said at the top, I think great signings, but they are kids and he's not trusting them. He's trusting Gray now, and I think hopefully when players are back, he'll still trust Gray because he's proven that he's quality and he's technical. He's gonna keep the ball. He's a good passer of the ball. Doesn't play many first time passes, but he's young. Bergvall, I like.
Played well last night.
Might play at number 6. I think he's great. Did play well last night. Defensively, he loves to dive in. He has no defensive nous, and if the ball goes behind him, he cannot run back. He is not physically ready for that in men's football. So that's my jumped ahead a bit here, but that is a concern at the weekend of him if he plays at 6. But I think quality signings. But yeah.
But my point
we
on
need
that,
a 25-year-old.
But my point on Atalanta is they have spent money, but not Italian teams don't spend fortunes like we can. They've probably spent as much as we can on 2 players and across 5 or 6. I just think it's out there. I think our recruitment has been poor.
They're top of the league as well.
That's what I said. Yeah, thanks for listening. They're top of the league. I mentioned Real Madrid and the Europa League as well.
I know, but I didn't know you said they're top of the league.
I just think I'm using Atalanta as an example. They're playing. I watched Lazio yesterday. They beat Ajax, bringing on these players. Look, they brought on Nuno Tavares and Guendouzi. I don't want Nuno Tavares and Guendouzi. But what have they all got? Experience.
All these European teams. You look at Roma a few weeks ago. They had El Shawari and Hummels and Dybala.
Would you rather that in your squad? Or,
that's why when we talk about the Europa League, Gary, I always say, these European teams, latter stages.
And experience makes me automatically think of like 30-year-olds on the latter stages of their career. But in actuality, I think it's just peak players like Solanke, mid-20s, have played a lot of top-level football. Physically, they're ready because Ange's football... recruitment. We seem to want to sign athletic freaks now. Van der Ven is an athletic freak. Dragusin is an athletic freak. Solanke
doesn't stop running.
I think he's got 5 lungs. It doesn't stop running. I want to prioritise technical ability alongside that. And I think we'll see improvement.
Well, Stanley Liu in our comments, James, says it. Technical players may not be the hard-pressing guys that Ange wants in his system.
Well, if Ange isn't going to coach control, then we need players that will have control.
I was working last night with a number of I was working for TNT last night on the game, and there's some ex-pros in the room that I was working with and some pundits. People have watched thousands and thousands of football matches, and they're all starting to turn on Ange. Not for them, they don't care either way, but they're starting to be like, what is going on? So what is going on? We've talked about the Ange sliding scale. Are you in? Are you out? You sort it out. It's 1 win in 8. I think the Man City game becoming this bizarre outlier. You said last week if he loses 2 of these 3, but we've drawn one of them, which on the face of it, okay, it's a tough place to go. It's not the worst result. It certainly doesn't dent our Europa League top 8 hopes.
I also just remembered I said 10 seconds before the goal last night.
How are we going to score?
I don't see us scoring.
Literally 10 seconds. What have we haven't learned anything new.
No.
So
I just feel like we're plodding along. I don't think we're nor here nor there. Like whatever happens on Sunday, whether we win 7-0 or draw 1-0 or win 2-1, I don't think it changes anything. The same with United. I think if we, as I said last week, if we beat Southampton 5-0 and beat United 5-0, I still don't think it really changes loads.
I'll take that.
Probably would take. Well, maybe not 5-0, but you know what I mean? If we win the next 2, we're playing against the worst, a team that is on course to match Derby potentially, and a Man United team who I don't know who watched them last night, but all over the place at the
Poor,
moment.
really poor.
Really there for the taking. And then it's, those sort of next 3 league games after that, for me, are the games that he's really going to be judged. Nottingham Forest away, Wolves at home, and Newcastle at home. They're the kind of games that we are slipping up in this season. So
I want a 2-0 win against Wolves, and I'll be really thrilled. More than a 5-0 win against.
I think it's a.
Southampton.
I think it's a 5-game audition now.
Is that a good point?
I don't think he goes even then. I think we have to be 15th in out all the cups. I just feel like he's got to the end of the season.
No,
It's a long way from
one of the things that concerns me at the moment.
Oh, Liverpool at home as well, yeah.
One of the things that concerns me at the moment is you can mitigate and say there's loads of injuries, there's not much chance to rotate, the players are tired, we're having to really get a lot of minutes out of the same players. But one thing that does bother me at the moment is I think in the past I could always see what we were trying to do on the pitch. You could always see where the patterns were, how we were trying to play. And the concerning thing for me was we really didn't create much against Bournemouth. We didn't create much last night. And I know we've had this chat about the players up front and whatnot, right? But you've also still got Bentancur, Bissouma and Maddison in midfield. And then Kulusevski's come on. So it's not like we haven't got creative players. It's not like we haven't got players who can control the game. And even last night, I saw no control over the game. I couldn't really see what we were trying to do. I couldn't really see what the game plan was. And that's bothering me at the moment, because at least if we were sort of, pressing really aggressively, creating chances, or, passes were going amiss, but you could see that, if you make that pass, we're in, or whatever. But I'm just not seeing any cohesion to anything at the minute, and that's what's bothering me the most.
Larger UK in our comments here, last night was the first time I was apathetic towards the project. I think there's been a steady graph of people becoming very, very concerned. I was saying it way back. It doesn't make me right. I was just concerned a long time ago. People are starting to get concerned. Is it a 5-game audition? Like if he loses to Southampton, I'm not convinced he sacks him because there's no other options.
The problem is, it's just that the mood, especially with a load of home games, I mean, I don't think he'll sack him before a quarter-final, but the mood is just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. And the mood is the worst I can remember
for years. What was it like in the away end last night?
Away ends are never as bad as home ends.
No, but it was flat.
No, but I mean in terms of like real negativity, and you might get a few Levy out, whatever. You're not going to get that in an away.
Was there any Levy out stuff?
Yeah, there was quite a bit of Levy out last night.
Oh, there was.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of we want Levy out last night. There was quite a bit of that, and look, it was flat. I just think, like I say, what excited us about Ange was football that we could get behind and football that you could really buy into and say, well, okay, we'll take some defeats, but if we're going to play this hell for leather football type, that we were seeing, you could tolerate it a little bit. But at the moment, I'm just seeing ploddy, shoddy performances, not many patterns on the pitch. Somebody on our comments has said, is that related to injuries and fatigue? It may be, but why should it be? I mean, ultimately, Ange is coaching a system, so it doesn't matter who's coming into that system. The patterns and the build-up plan, the way that, the runs off the ball should still be cohesive.
Profile, though, again, so it will make a difference. But where I am irritated by Ange is the contradictory comments from him. And in the comments about injuries, he mentions that we haven't got a lot with the injuries. Prior to the injuries, he wasn't, again, rotating. Wasn't rotating any players, and guess what? They get injured because his style of play is so full on.
I don't know about that, Rob. People saying this whole didn't rotate. What did people want him to rotate in Premier League games? He rotated in Europe in the Cup.
Bring in one or two,
but who though?
Here or there.
People, everyone's saying, Jed Spencer's got to start Sunday.
What,
the guy that's not started a game for however many months?
He should have started a game.
But we don't have players ready to come in. We don't. Sunday we've basically got a team that literally picks itself because we've got no one else.
Jack, let me ask you, right? There was a comment that resonates with me, and I picked up on it at the beginning of the season when he said, I haven't been able to get the youngsters as many minutes as I have wanted because the games haven't gone the way that I wanted. I'm like, I looked at the games, Newcastle away, Arsenal, I was like, what did you expect was going to happen to give these kids minutes? Now, in my view, right, if you are bringing on the likes of Bergvall and Gray and Odobert and Spence after 70 minutes and giving the others, giving their legs a rest, the others, and they're getting game time and experience, then they're going to be more ready to come in and rotate. But he didn't do that when he had the opportunity. So it's not about who, Spence starting. It is about Spence coming on after 70 minutes for Udogie or Porro. It is about Gray coming on in a number 6. He hasn't played. He's played like 5 minutes in the 6 at the minute, right? Yeah, his actual position.
Well, this is the killer for Gray because this specific week would have been the perfect time, wouldn't it? for Gray to get some minutes.
Well, I was going to pick up on something.
Sunday,
I was going to pick up on something that James said earlier, where I can't remember exactly what you were saying, but I'm kind of done with Bissouma at this point. Like I'm just done.
I'm done with both Bentancur and
you get out. If you're going to criticise Bentancur, there's the door.
They're just nothing players.
Get out.
Bentancur I can stick with,
out.
but I think Bissouma we should sell in the summer. And where I'm at on it at the minute is when we do start getting defenders back, I would say to Archie Gray, you are now our 6, right?
Yeah.
Learn, grow, develop. Because how the hell is he going to come into the team next season when he is meant to be a 6 having not played there? Yeah. So play him there now, all right?
He didn't even play him there in pre-season. He was playing centre-half in pre-season.
Do you know what? I watched Gray last night a few times and he brought it out at the back and there was 2 on the right side in the first half where he gave it away a few times. But do you know what? I almost felt, I don't mind that. I really don't mind it. Because it was an 18-year-old kid taking responsibility. Yeah. And thankfully, we got away with them both and we didn't concede because you know what would happen if we did concede. But I thought, you know what? That's the youngest player on the pitch, the youngest player in the squad taking responsibility.
Correct.
Oh, he's got mentality. He's got great mentality. Well, I don't think he's ready to be a starting 6. I think that's where he'll end up.
No, I don't think he is. Ready. I don't think he is. I'm not suggesting that
he's going to be special.
But he's never going to be. If you're not giving him those opportunities to be,
absolutely.
Right? So, between now and the rest of the season, I'm being a bit sort of flippant, get rid of Bissouma or whatever. But what I am saying is whether you start Gray or whether after 60 minutes of every game going forwards, you're saying you are coming into that 6 and building your experience and getting minutes in that position, that's what should be happening. Similarly, Bergvall, should be getting more and more minutes and taking more minutes away from the likes of Bissouma and Bentancur, because I think both of those are probably going to be on their way.
One of them would have started on, it'll probably end up being Bergvall. Well, potentially Gray would have started there on Sunday because Bissouma and Bentancur are out. But unfortunately, the bloke's got to play centre-half.
I don't think Gray would have started. I can't see anything but Sarr in the 6 and Madison and Kulusevski in the middle.
I think there's a chance Bergvall plays.
Chance Bergvall at the 6. He's played there the last 2 times he's come on.
Yeah, I think to start him there would be that.
I think it'd be crazy.
I mean, whereas Archie Gray actually is a 6.
Yeah,
I think Bergvall is an 8. From what I've seen.
His comments after the game, especially in relation to Verner, mentioning 18-year-olds who is Bergvall and Gray, right? They're both 18. Yeah. It made me think there's a good chance he might start him on Sunday. Not guaranteed, but he really praised Bergvall as well. And what Bergvall was good against Chelsea in the 20 minutes
he came on and did well. I think he said that Bergvall would have started last night, but was unwell.
A bit of virus going around the squad, seemingly. I don't actually think we have a 6 in the team squad at all.
Well, Gray, but he's not ready.
Gray, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Other than Gray, not ready. Bissouma was, I believe at Brighton, he was always a double pivot defensive mid, and Bentancur has never been one. His worst spell in his entire career was as a 6 at Juventus, and he was abysmal. I think he's been all right.
You want to be careful.
He's been all right with us at 6. He is not, if we're not going to make him the first choice 8, he should be sold. And also, he could get, to make the squad more cohesive and what we need to be more open with selling players that even we love when they don't actually fit.
It's like you're criticising my son.
Well, he's not a square peg in a round hole. He's more like a octagon in a round hole. It's not quite right. So we may as well. We've got that Johnny Cardoso again.
Oh, is that what's going on there?
So I don't think he fits as that technical passing 6 who's press resistant. But what he is he's tall, can win headers, gets stuck in. And one thing we don't have in the squad right now is a nasty midfielder who will make the fouls, make the tackles, get stuck in. I'd love a technical 6 and him as an option.
We've been discussing this in recent weeks, actually, and I've made the point to Johnny, I actually don't think we do need a technical 6 because I don't think our build-up play in this style under Ange goes through the 6. So I think a destroyer, a really defensively minded, like Cardoso, big lad in there who's just going to get stuck in, be disciplined, win the ball back and give it. Perfect.
I should be clear that I want them just to be able to take the ball on the half turn and not lose it. I don't need them to be prime Xavi or something, or Rodri at City because they're a dime a dozen. There's a few, like Bruno Guimaraes would be perfect. Yeah. But he's going to cost 150, 200 million.
Let's go after Rice.
Stupid.
We need Rice.
Arsenal fans will tell you he can't play there.
Rice would be a good 6 for us. Yeah.
He plays 8 for them.
Takes a good corner though. We don't need those. We don't do that. Right, we've got to get out of here soon. You'll notice certainly in the title of our YouTube video, it says Fraser Forster Appreciation Society. Just a quick big up to Fraser Forster. We were worried about him. You weren't worried about him, but most of us were worried about him. But It's been brilliant.
Do you know what I still can't believe about Forster? And I don't know if anyone else sees it like this, but he makes saves that his body language is almost like, I can't really be bothered.
Yeah.
It's like he's doing you a favour making a save.
True.
Like, why'd you make me do that?
It's so true.
Did you see that shot in the first, was it the first time, where he
Where he
tipped it over and it's almost like,
he's like
he looks so like,
Yeah.
and Ali McCoy's,
You've got some time.
I've got some time.
When then they show up, and then you've got 5 minutes. One.
All right, so our producer telling us we have more time than I thought.
Ali McCoy sort of went, that was going in if he didn't touch it. He sort of
He
just
just went like that, didn't
you
he?
know, he did that one,
Yeah.
the Bournemouth one down low to his left, the header. He just sort of like flicks out a hand as if he's like, playing at school, and the guy that's got to go and goal. It doesn't really want to go and goal. He's just like, whatever. I don't really want to. But makes phenomenal
I may as well,
saves.
yeah.
Absolutely,
Well, the save last night in
phenomenal
the
saves.
88th minute when the geezer went through.
Dessers.
And
By the way,
Unbelievable.
fair play to that strike. That was superb. I don't know if you've seen it
He
back.
twisted Archie Gray inside out, didn't he?
Kev G,
But
Kev G saying here, Forster will soon fall apart into the nightmare we all thought he would be.
That's the spirit.
Yeah, but he does say, but he's done really well considering the amount of shots. He's done really well. Do you know what? He's got enough credit in the bank if he does make an error. All goalkeepers are making errors, and he's not made any yet.
Saved us a point last night.
Well,
Massive.
bookmark this chat because he could throw one in on Sunday.
He's
but
proven me completely wrong.
Yeah.
I was so like, get Austin in. About time. He's nearly 26, I think. Get the kid in.
So
I've got memories of Forster throwing one in against Southampton, actually. It was a couple of seasons ago, and across the corner came in, and he
that
fumbled
was a foul, wasn't it?
that was against
That
us.
was against us, no.
For Southampton.
And it didn't get
Yeah,
given,
Doherty scored.
and it got disallowed.
Yeah.
and
It
it
was
wasn't
2
a
years
foul.
ago,
He was
3
playing
years
for
ago.
Southampton.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
and it got
okay.
disallowed for nothing.
By the way, talking of goalkeepers, Southampton's goalkeeper, Joe Lumley.
It's the third choice.
He's one of the worst I've seen, so I fully expect him to have the.
Here's
somehow
one.
have the
Here's
game of
one.
his
When I
career.
hear the name Joe Lumley, and I'm showing my age here, I don't know if Gary or
Joanna Lumley?
Not Joanna. I was going to say Gary Plumley. Do you remember him?
No.
1987 FA Cup semi-final. Watford had two. We played him in the semi-final. Watford had two goalkeepers injured, one on the pitch, one in training, and they basically, this guy had knocked around the lower leagues, and he was a wine waiter somewhere, and someone sort of went, "Well, I know this bloke who can play in goal." And they were allowed to sign him. And talk of throwing, he certainly threw one in. He was like a non-league player playing in an FA Cup semi-final. Look him up. Gary Plumley, hilarious
That
story.
story for some reason reminds me of when we played United on New Year's Day and Schmeichel injured himself. And
Prunier, did Prunier? No, Prunier got sent off.
William Prunier made one of his only performance, made
Did he
one
go
of his
in
only
goal?
appearances. No, he didn't. I think I can't remember. I think it was Pilkington or something went in goal.
Yeah.
Where's Gareth Dace when you need him?
Yeah, but William Prunier played in that game. And didn't play much after us. We beat him 4-1. So yeah, he showed
That's
that it
New Year's
wasn't
Day.
great. Yeah, it was
Great
New Year's
day.
Day.
Well,
Yeah.
What do you guys think our best goalkeeper and backup goalkeeper duo has been for Spurs?
Lloris Friedel, surely.
Lloris Friedel was a good one.
Not Walker Barnes.
I think Vicario Forster's okay, but it's not the best. But I think Lloris Friedel's a shout.
Yeah.
Must be Lloris. Friedel was absolutely unreal in that 11-12 season. wasn't he?
Clemens Parks, but Parks wasn't.
We had
Right.
Yeah.
a mad one of none of them were top quality, but all good quality of Gomez, Cudicini, and then someone else. I can't remember who it
Hans
was.
Sagers.
No, that was
We
way
had
before
Stoke
that.
Pleticosa for a season.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
We had a Spanish guy we had Gazaniga.
Paul
who was-
Lopez on the
Paul
bench
Lopez.
for Girona,
That was it.
and Gazaniga's number one.
Oh, Lloris Gazaniga was a good
Should we,
pair.
well, we've still got a bit of time. Should we just quickly discuss Southampton and
Yeah,
what we
so
expect?
what I was going to say earlier is you'll see from our title that it's the Fraser Forster Appreciation Society. We were going to welcome Dave Prutton in on our live show, but we actually recorded Dave earlier, ex-Southampton player, nearly 500 appearances in his career. You've got to be somewhere, Jake.
My car's running out.
Yeah, I need to update my parking.
Oh no, good.
We've had a chat with Dave Prutton. We're going to put that out today as a separate little interview. Really, really good chat. Dave is a great guy. Some really funny stuff. Does a brilliant story on his red card against Arsenal in 2006, I think it was. 2005, where he then pushes referee Alan Wiley over. Just a little bit on that. It's a really good story. So look out for that. That'll come out today. All right, quickly on Southampton. Does the team pick itself? So we're going to have Forster in goal. I don't know if Porro's getting a rest for Spence, but it will be Gray and Dragusin at centre half, and it will be a doggy at left back. The big question is who then plays, because Bentancur and Basuma can't play. What do we think? Well, let me just miss those. I then think it.
I think there's two debates.
For me, it will go.
Val and Spence.
I think it will then go. I think it will be. I'm afraid. I think it will be Johnson, Kulu, Son, and Solanke. I think it'll be Maddison with one other, and I think it'll be Sarr. To be honest,
Sarr's definitely going to.
I don't think it'll be one of the kids.
But could it be Sarr? Because Bergvall's, I would say Bergvall's coming as a 6. Could it be Decky, Bergvall, and Sarr for Sarr to give Bergvall that bit of cover that he needs?
I think if Maddison doesn't play this weekend, I don't even know what to say.
I think it's a game where we can look to take it to Southampton. I'd put Sarr on the 6 and go with
Maddison and Kulu.
Maddison and Kulu. Yeah, I'd go Son on the left, Johnson on the right, Solanke up top.
Not Verner. Not Verner.
I'm tempting, but no.
Okay, I've got to update my parking. So while I update my parking, I want you to give me a prediction, please, for Southampton against Tottenham. James Robbins.
Have we had a lot of games at like 4-1 this season? Let's go 4-5-1 because they're so bad.
We're not letting him 5.
1-5.
Right.
Yeah, we're guaranteed to concede, aren't we? 5-1.
Yes, Pilch 58 says our bench on Sunday will be quite a challenge. Take your boots if you're going down to St Mary's.
Play the kids. Play some of the kids.
I don't know. 3-3 says Dean S.
Not again.
I've been to a Southampton 3, Spurs 3.
Jake's avoiding this. I can see. He glanced at me.
1-1. Wow. Gary D?
No idea. No clue at all.
Regulon. I've just realised we could play Regulon.
Did you not see what Ange said about him the other day?
What did he say?
He's like, he's something like he's in the last year of his contract. So, why is that? Like very dismissive
He's
of his
rubbish.
existence. Basically.
He's rubbish. What do you reckon?
Look, I think we have to win, so I think we will win. I'll go 3-1 Tottenham.
That's always the case, isn't it? When we have to win, we win.
I'll give you my prediction. I'll give you my prediction in a minute. I'm going to read you a couple of pre-match stats on this game because, like I say, that's what I do for a living, so I'm going to do it. Southampton have lost just one of their last 6 home league games against Tottenham, a 5-2 defeat. That was COVID, wasn't it, in September 2020. Tottenham have only failed to score in one of their last 22 meetings with Southampton. 1-0 defeat in January 2020, which I don't remember. That
was when Kane done his hammy.
This is nice. This is nice. This is. Oh, he did his hammy. Yeah. This is Spursy. Southampton have scored in their last 15 Premier League games against Tottenham, their longest streak against anyone in the competition's history.
Naturally.
Home and away, is that?
Yeah. Tottenham are unbeaten in their last 13 Premier League games against sides starting the day bottom of the table. Well, records are there to be broken. I think it could be anything. I'm going to go with 3-2 to Tottenham.
It's just a game that Ange cannot afford to lose. You cannot lose.
No.
Ipswich.
A draw's almost as bad as a loss.
Yeah, but
he has to win this.
Got to win. You cannot be failing to pick up points against Ipswich, Palace, and then Southampton. It's inexcusable. I don't care what the circumstances around it. It's inexcusable.
I
so
think
we've got to win.
Our saving grace is Southampton, bit like us, wedded to the philosophy, won't change. If Southampton went and sat back in 2 banks of 4,
be more worried.
Then I'd be like, will we create anything? If they come out and play, like any team that comes out and plays against us generally, done.
Incidentally,
some of the goals they conceded wild.
For the neutral, are you not entertained?
See that goal against Chelsea they conceded?
Fitting into our recruitment philosophy and a player that could be very good for us is Dibbling. Looking forward to seeing him. He would be very, very good signing for us.
Yeah, really good on the ball.
And it annoys me seeing Kyle Walker-Peters all the time because we just should have brought him back for that club-trained position.
No. Yeah, but it's a point about the club-trained, though.
And
Kyle Walker-Peters is not good enough.
There's
a reason that when they went down, no one looked at him.
He's a top-half Premier League fullback for me.
I think he's seriously average.
He would be great cover for because he can play him. He can.
I've never been having him.
He can tuck in. He can play left back.
He lived off that Newcastle away game when they gave him man of the match just because it was his debut.
Who was it? Was it against Bournemouth where he got like
hat-trick
3
assists at Wembley? Yeah.
God, he's very average.
Yeah, I anyway. At the moment, we don't have any cover for
probably not
because he won't play him.
Give Spence a go. I'd actually, as much as I said, Spence is going to be so far away from match sharpness, but maybe give him a go. Porro's knackered, so you might as well play.
Anne said the other day that Spence will surely have some minutes over the Christmas period. So, yeah.
And he saved us against Coventry. He deserves something. Unless he's awful in training.
Yeah.
He deserves something.
I thought that was going to be his Mark Robbins moment for Ange, but it's been rubbish since then.
It's
Right.
against Mark Robbins.
It was against Mark Robbins. Yeah. Okay. We're going to go. Jake. You're Jake. You're James. I will have you back, but you've got to be careful on the Bentancur stuff.
Okay.
And Sam re-signing Kyle Walker-Peters.
That's my hill to die on. That.
James, thank you for coming in. We'll see you again.
Thank you for having me back.
We're not doing Monday, are we? We're doing a live show around Sunday's game. We're going to come on a little bit before the game. I know there's a big Manchester derby, so we're going to come on a little bit after that, just talk about the lineup and have a chat about the game. We're not going to do a watch along because that's not really our thing, but we are then going to come on after the game, talk about the game. We're going to talk to Paul Belveston, a Premier League reporter, who's hopefully going to join us from St Mary's just after Ange's presser. We had that once, didn't we, at Nottingham Forest? Rob Scanlon joined us. So that should be good. Worked really well. So hopefully, the only ever time we've done this was on the back of a win. Hopefully that will happen again.
Who was that?
Forest. It was a bit of a nervy one. We didn't
was
play
that
well.
the away game?
It was 2-0.
That was the same weekend, wasn't it?
What?
Exactly the same day. Forest away, 2-0.
Was it the same weekend last
I'm
year?
pretty sure it was the same
It
day.
was. Steve Cooper got sacked
was a
on the
Friday
20th.
night.
It was a Friday night.
But
I think it might be
got
next.
sent off.
I think it's next week. Yeah, 15th. You're right. It was like the 15th of December.
That's when Basuma completely lost his head, didn't they?
Yeah, not for the first time. All right, so we'll be doing that on Sunday. Look out for it on Sunday. We'll come on before for a little bit, join us, and then join us after the game for us to dissect a 3-2 win at St Mary's. We will see you on Sunday night. Up the Spurs.